Robert Jones come up to read. I was unaware of his work, but Mike Tuggle, who was a former poet laureate of Sonoma County, mentioned that he thought that Bob Jones was the best poet in the county. And with an endorsement like that, you know, we had to invite him. He lives, is it West Santa Rosa or west of Santa Rosa?
West of Santa Rosa.
West of Santa Rosa, making that distinction. So, are you east of the Laguna or west of the Laguna?
West.
West of the Laguna, okay. Now we've got the coordinates, Bob Jones.
And the very best to Mike Tuggle, who would be here if he weren't in the hospital. And so I'm here because of that he's not here. And I appreciate his more than generous words about what I'm about to give you. Most everything I write and have written for a while has to do with that little place where we live, which is Guerneville and around and the trees and all that. And so I'm going to start off with one that actually takes place even west and south of that on Tomales Bay, where I went sailing one afternoon with a notoriously poor sailor in a little bitty sailboat, the keel of which you just push down like plywood through a slot. And we got all the way down from the mouth of the bay clear to the end in about 20 minutes, sailing with the wind. It took us all the rest of the day to get back. But on the way, this is what happened, or something like that. It's called Sail Amid Seals. Just out of Tomales we sail 6 inches off the soft bottom, quietly into the seals. We catch a wrong wind, but still steer into them, fixed by their soft eyes and by our own fascination. They watch from their sandbar like crowds at a liberation. Beneath us, the crabs and jellyfish move with the seagrass, tense and relaxed, in rhythm with currents from beyond. Yes, and so do we relax and contemplate the happiness of these slicked faces, smiling like gods never nagged by their infinite deficiency. And in that moment we love them, and in that moment we praise them, and we offer them our praise. Seals, oh seals, unserious seals, sent from the earth's soft core. Logy, old fogey, delirious seals, from atolls of plenty, from empty, distant shores. Fresh, flippant, daredevil seals, trapezing the rock-bound waves, spirit-like, almost invisible seals, driving through half-hidden caves. Preacher-type seals with noses pointed high, flippers all flailing as we pass by. Hail to all sea gods this holy day. Hail to your laughter as night winds drive us away. This one's called Big Blue Plymouth. And it came close to happening, but not, you know. Garrison Keillor says the way you write is you remember something that happened and then tell lies about it. And that's kind of what this is. Big Blue Plymouth. One day in early summer a few years back, the sun shining in a light blue sky, and a smattering of tourists in our false front pretend to be Old West tourist town, our local preacher, having come from a funeral, was walking down Main Street all dressed up in his dark suit, white shirt, and somber tie, the only one dressed like that for at least 40 miles in any direction. And he noticed this big blue Plymouth parked at the corner where Lark Grubbs used to be. The car had Save the Whale bumper sticker on it and Peace on Earth decal on the back window, which our preacher would have liked had he been able to see them. He's a little left of most of us around here, but he means well, and on this particular day, he did a good thing. 2 senior citizen couples were in the car. Nice-looking town people come for a little vacation among our redwood trees, it seems. Something we like to encourage around here. These good folks were pointing this way and that out the roll-down windows of their big blue Plymouth, laughing uproariously and shaking their heads as various citizens of our town ambled into view. They got a special kick out of Phil Guidotti, tall, imposing, heavy-set, standing in front of his real estate and insurance office, taking his hourly measurement of what was going on, decked out for the day in yellow Bermuda shorts, red golfing shirt, and green tennis shoes. Somebody in the big blue Plymouth was heard to say, "Look at that, an insurance man in Bermuda shorts. I think that's kind of quaint," which surely is the only time the word quaint has ever been used in connection with Phil Guidotti. Who knows what got into our preacher then? Some legions of the prince of this world, perhaps. But he took offense at them laughing at his friend Phil and decided to give these tourists something to talk about with all their neighbors when they got home. He stepped off the curb in front of that big blue Plymouth, raised his eyes to the heavens, laid his hands on the hood of that big blue Plymouth, and began to pray. In his loudest, most wavering, holy of holies voices, our preacher prayed for that big blue Plymouth and for all the cars going up and down Main Street and for all the people in them and round about. And he prayed for the 4 good folks in their big blue Plymouth, for their children, grandchildren, nieces and nephews, puppy dogs, goldfish, parakeets, and cats. He prayed for safe travel, for serenity of heart, for peace on earth, and for saving the whales. His bellowing became stronger and stronger. His eyes lifted higher and higher, and his right hand in great wide swoops made the blessed sign of the cross over that big blue Plymouth. Right then, the driver started the motor, and that big blue Plymouth revved up so powerful it seemed like for sure he would run our preacher over. But our preacher stood his ground and kept on praying for the rods and pistons of that big blue Plymouth, for the brakes and tires, for the oil pan, the radiator cap, the tailpipe, and the exhaust. He played louder than the motor would roar, angry now at these smug foreigners come among us to laugh at the way we are. He prayed with a fervor he seldom attained in church, and pounded on the hood of that big blue Plymouth as if it was a consecrated pulpit from which to proclaim the fierce and everlasting word of the Lord. And he gave them a vigorous 4-syllable amen, and bowed real low, and politely stepped aside, and those tourists roared off in their big blue Plymouth, none of them laughing anymore. Any law against an 80-year-old man writing a love poem?
Not at all.
This one's called The Greatest American Poem Since Emily Dickinson. Bright early morning, just before breakfast, and I'm in that dreamy state thinking to write the greatest American poem since Emily Dickinson. And I write a line summing up the meaning of the entire universe, and to my credit, quickly cross it out. And my dear one wants to talk about whether a king-size bed or a queen-size bed would be better for us, or maybe twin beds now that we're getting older. And I can only think about the nights next to her in whatever bed we slept in. She's slim and lithe, or thick and great with child. 55 years of being in bed with her, night upon night, so that all the nights blend into one lovely night. And then there were what we called naps before church and after church, and once a time, twice, at the same time as church. And I can't imagine what difference the size or shape of the bed might make, so long as she is there beside me, sickness and health, better or worse, beside me. And I can't think of anything else at all, in fact, not even breakfast, let alone the greatest American poem since Emily Dickinson.